Okay, business algebra last review questions. The inverse of the 3 by 3 matrix, number 19, and number 24b, which was the page 15 of the review, which is the only thing after page 10 that you need. It's systems of inequalities. So to find the inverse of a 3 by 3, it's the same as finding the inverse of a 2 by 2, only there's more work. First off, the identity is now a 3 by 3, so there's 3 diagonals, but your strategy is still the same. First goal is to turn the top left to 1, which it already is, good for us. We need to zero out the rest of the column. Now one of the numbers is already 0, but the second one is a 2. So to get rid of that 2, you do row 2 minus 2 row 1s. So that 2 minus 2 is 0. Negative 1 minus 0 is still negative 1, but 0 minus 2 negative 3s, which is 0 plus 6, is 6. 0 minus 2, negative 2, and the rest is subtracting zeros. Again, when you are messing with a row, the other rows are always going to stay the same. Now, when you're trying to turn a number into a 1, you always use multiplication or division. When you're trying to turn a number into a 0, you will always use addition or subtraction by some multiple of a row. You can multiply the other row, but you're always adding or subtracting something. Okay, so now that this whole column is 1, 0, 0, my next goal is to turn the second column into a 0, 1, 0. Starting with the middle one, the 1. Right now it's a negative 1. To turn a negative 1 into a 1, you either multiply or divide by negative 1, which changes all the signs of the second row. So 0, positive 1, negative 6, positive 2, negative 1, 0. Now you need to fix the rest of this column. Now there's already a 0 in the top row, so you don't need to do anything there. But there's a 4 in the bottom row. Now you need to turn that into a 0, so you do row 3 minus 4 row 2s. Doesn't change row 1 or row 2, but 4 minus 4 is 0. Negative 2 minus negative 24 is really negative 2 plus 24, which gives us 22. 0 minus 8 is negative 8. 0 minus negative 4 is really 0 plus 4, which is 4, and then 1 minus 0 is 1. Now that I've finished the first and second column, we have to do the third column, get this last bottom right number to 1. This is where it gets ugly. Right now it's a 22. To turn it into a 1, we have to divide everything in that row by 22. So we get 0, 0, 1. Now negative 8 divided by 22 can reduce by 2 to negative 4 over 11. 4 over 22 can reduce by 2 to 2 over 11, but 1 over 22 is just going to stay a 1 over 22. Now I have to fix the rest of this column, which means both of those numbers have to change. So to get rid of a negative 3, I have to add 3. So I have to do row 1 plus 3 row 3s, which is where all the fractions are. So row 2 and 3 are going to stay the same. Row 1, negative 3 plus 3 is 0. Okay, so 3 times a negative 4 elevenths is negative 12 elevenths. That has to be added to 1. Now 1 is 11 divided by 11, plus negative 12 divided by 11. You add 11 plus negative 12. It's negative 1 divided by 11. Same thing for the second part. It's 0 plus 3 times 2 elevenths. That's just 3 times 2 elevenths is 6 elevenths, and anything plus 0 is itself. And then lastly, is 3 times 1 22nd is 3 22nds. 0 plus that is just 3 22nds. It's not too bad. And lastly, I have to fix row 2. I have to add 6 row 3s there because we have a negative 6. So when I add 6 times row 3, 6 times negative 4 elevenths is negative 24 elevenths. 2 is 22 divided by 11. So we have 22 over 11 plus negative 24 over 11. 22 minus 24 is negative 2 elevenths. Similarly, negative 1 plus 6 times 2 elevenths, that's negative 11 elevenths. 6 times 2 elevenths is 12 elevenths. So this is 1 11th. And then the last one's 0. 0 plus 6 divided by 22 is 6 over 22, which reduces to 3 elevenths to fix there. Okay, now we have the identity on the left side, so our inverse is whatever's left on the right side. So all of those fractions, A inverse is negative 1/11, 6/11, 3/22, negative 2/11, 1/11, 3/11, and negative 4/11, 2/11, and 1/22. Now, for graphing the inequalities, remember there are some keys here, the above or below, and whether your line is dotted or solid. I chose 24B because it has three things on there, so we can talk about it. So the first thing you want to do for all of these is solve for y. So right now it's x plus y is less than 7. You can subtract the x to the other side to get y is less than negative x plus 7. Remember, because it's not an equal to sign, it's dotted. So you graph the line y equals negative x plus 7 as a dotted line. We'll worry about the less than in a second. For the second one, y minus 2x is greater than 1. You add the 2x to the other side, so y is greater than or equal to 2x plus 1. Because there's an equal to sign, you graph it as a solid line. Lastly, we have x is greater than or equal to 0. X equals 0 is just this vertical axis right now, so it's hard to draw a line there. But to be greater than 0 for x means to the right of 0. So these are our three lines, the vertical line here, then the pink and blue line. Now I have to be under the pink line, above the blue line, and to the right, because it's greater than 0, of the axis. So it's clear that the triangle is the area between those. If you want to test a point in there, you can plug in the point 1,5 to all the equations and see that it works. So this is the last review part that you have for your test, and I will open the test up later, probably tomorrow, for you to test either tomorrow or through Saturday on the weekend. Maybe today. I'll let you know by Canvas when it's open.